In this video, you will learn about Sellerboard, which is a powerful tool for Amazon sellers selling in Europe, in US, in different Amazon marketplaces. And this tool is perfect to track your numbers, to track your inventory, to get notifications about important events happening on your Amazon listing, and much more. So watch this video. And if you want to try Sellerboard, check the link below in the description to get 2 months of free usage of this tool. This video is part of the Demo Mondays video series where we invite different Amazon software tools to present their product just like this on the screen. Hello Alex, it's nice to have you here. Could you please introduce us to Sellerboard and how does your tool help Amazon sellers?
Hello Augustus, thank you so much for the invitation. My name is Alex, I'm the CMO at Sellerboard. We are a profit analytics tool with additional tools that help you automate process inside your Amazon business. Our main value that we bring to the sellers is accuracy in your profit calculations. So this is what we do. Today I'm going to show you a short presentation of what Sellerboard is and the features that we offer to the sellers.
Perfect. So I think let's jump to the screen and let's see all the main features you offer to Amazon sellers.
Sure. So our main value is the profit analytics that we offer sellers. And this is the main dashboard that most of our users use on a daily basis. Here you can see the tiles that represent your statistics for the periods that are last month, month to date, yesterday, today. This way, if you access the tiles, you can see the dynamics and just have a quick glimpse about the, how well you're doing and how your business is performing. Besides that, you can always have the possibility to drill down into specifics. So if you want to analyze different KPIs, if you want to see how well is a certain product performing, or maybe a certain brand, or maybe you want to analyze the orders. This is also possible, and you can do it using, first of all, the detailed view, where you can see all of your KPIs as a giant list, and you can break down to each and separate element that adds up in the final cost that you have as advertising, as refund, as Amazon fees. So basically you have everything calculated right here. And what is the most important, you can see your net profit after you take everything out of your sales. And then you can see how well you're performing in terms of profit. So we have different ways of making these calculations as accurate as possible. I will go through several of them today shortly, but let's jump back to dashboard and I will show you how you can see the dynamics in your product sales. So right here, you have a spreadsheet that basically gives you the information about units, refunds, sales, ads, and you can actually configure which KPIs you want to reflect in this table. And then, for example, if you want to see what are the refund costs for one of the products, you can just add this KPI and then switch back to the table to see it. Besides that, you can analyze orders by the same KPIs. You can group your orders or products by a certain parameter. As I said, maybe you want to see how well one of your brands is performing, or a parent or an A sign. So this is basically the functionality of the main dashboard. And besides viewing your information month to month, day to day, and by orders, you can also view the same info in a chart view or in profit and loss table and trends. I'm going to go quickly through each of these views. So this is the chart view. You can see the dynamics in it, also analyze every KPI. The P and L, so the profit and loss table, is basically a giant spreadsheet with all your numbers for each month. And then you can see how well is every KPI performing. So you can always also break them up and see the components. Then you have the trends. First of all, the trends is a feature that helps you analyze what are the dynamics of a certain KPI and see it on a chart, so you can understand where you're going. For example, with the BSR of a product, or the profitability of a product, or maybe the refunds of a product. So for example, if you have a negative dynamic, a negative trend, negative dynamics with the returns of a product, maybe you should see what's inside, what's the reason for this. Maybe you have some problems with your listings, or maybe you have a problem with the product itself. So yeah, here you can see the trends and the charts for them, the data. And you can choose up here which KPI do you want to analyze, as I said before. For example, let's choose BSR to see how are you doing in terms of market share. Then we have the tools that will help you automate your business besides the dashboard. And basically, there are several directions that we are working with. We have PPC automation, where you can see statistics and automate your campaign. Then we have the review request automation tool that helps you get more reviews. As you probably know, you need those to get sales in general, to have that social trust. And besides that, of course, we have a very cool inventory module that helps you plan your stocks, that helps you create purchase orders and then track the status of them. I will get to this feature just in a second, but I would like to show you first a couple of features that make the seller board calculations accurate. First, let's jump into the products tab. In the products tab, you have the possibility to enter your cost of goods, and you can do this in several ways. You can do that either as a constant or by period or batch. So what does that mean? For example, imagine a situation when you have products ordered in a period with a certain cost, a certain price, and then the prices go up, for example, a month later, 2 months later, and you need to adjust the final cost of goods sold of this product in order, to keep the numbers as accurate as possible. So you have the possibility to enter the price with all its elements and components for a period, and then at the second period with a different price. So what does seller board do? Basically, it first of all calculates the average cost of good price and uses it for calculations of profit. But besides that, you also have the possibility to account for the remainder of the stock from the previous batch. So if you have, for example, remainder of the stock with a different price, you can always enter how much stock do you have from the previous batch, and that would also be taken into calculations. Okay, another thing that makes seller board calculations more accurate in terms of profit is the expenses feature. So what is this? For example, if you have different types of expenses that are not automatically taken into account, those are not Amazon fees and those are not cost of goods, but rather some costs that you have like photo shooting, like tax consultant services, like warehouse rent and stuff like that. You can also account for these type of costs, and they can be either one time or they can be recurring, like monthly, daily, or for example, yearly costs that you have. You can always enter them here, and they will also be taken into account while doing the calculations. Okay, so besides the profit, the calculations, we have the modules and the features that help you automate some of the processes inside your business. The first one is the PPC automation tool. The PPC module has two main features. The first one is the PPC analytics, where it gives you the possibility to break down all your main KPIs that are PPC related. For example, this is the main view where you can see your PPC sales and you have your PPC costs, and you can actually also select which KPIs you want to see here. For example, you want to see the average CPC or PPC sales, conversions, stuff like that. You can always add that to the chart. So, and then you always have your numbers for each of the campaigns. And in terms of numbers, I would suggest looking here at the ACoS and the break-even ACoS KPIs. So why? Because when you target a certain profitability, you want to have your ACAS as close, not more than your break-even ACAS. What does that mean? So the break-even ACAS is the indicator of how much your advertising cost of sales should be max in order for the campaign to be profitable. So you can always use the PPC tool to automate your campaigns in a fashion that your ACAS will not go above your break-even ACAS. And this is the feature that a lot of users, just use in order to be sure that some of the campaigns are not losing money, in order of just sticking to what you're trying to do with the PPC. Because you could either enter a market and you want to get your product out there, you're ready and prepared to spend more for just exposing the product to the market, or maybe you want to support your organic sales and then you will keep your ACAS maybe at the level with your break-even ACAS. Or if you want the campaign to be profitable, so you've got to be lower with your ACAS than the break-even ACAS indicator. Yeah, so this is the module. Besides that, inside it we have keyword automation, which helps you do two main things. First of all, it helps you find keywords that are not converting. You have no sales with them, you're just spending money. So you can use that to use the keywords to track them to negative, to move them to negative, so they will not be taken into account and they will not be used in your PPC activity. And also the second feature is the keyword harvesting. So you can use a campaign to harvest well-performing keywords and then transfer them to a certain campaign that does the sales. So yeah, then after PPC, I would suggest moving on to the inventory feature. So what we do with the inventory, as I said before, Sellerboard, first of all, helps you to stay in stock. Finally, if you set up all your numbers in the purchase orders module, in your planner module, then and set up the alerts, maintaining stock will be as easy as receiving a notification via email about the necessity to make a new order, because you will soon run out of stock. So this is what Sellerboard can do. And I'm going to show you how you can do that. First of all, the planner here, you have the information about all your stock, whether it is the cost of goods, so what is the value of your stock in the FBA or the FBM warehouses. So FBA warehouse or it's your warehouse. So how much value of stock is inside the prep stock, the preparation center, and besides value, you also have your potential sales and potential profit that you could make. This is about numbers, the money, and here you have the units. So for each product, you have the stock in the warehouse, you have the amount that's reserved, you have the amount that's sent to FBA right now, and basically these numbers represent where in the pipeline is your stock situated at the moment. So having that picture, you can understand when it's time to restock. And if you enter the numbers about production, about your shipping, about inbound shipping and stuff like that, you can calculate your adjusted sales velocity in order to understand how many units of a certain product you sell per day on average. And having that, you can plan your stock and have these two columns active for you. So that is the days of stock left. You will, it's self-explanatory, you will understand how much you can remain in stock for how long, and then days until next order. This is also pretty simple. You understand when it's time to reorder. And if you connect the inventory module with the alerts feature from Sellerboard, you can always be notified when it will be time to reorder here. Also, we can recommend the quantity for reordering. So knowing your adjusted sales, knowing your stock, we can always calculate and show you what is a very good amount to reorder now. So this is the planner page. And As you can see here, the columns that represent, as I said, the position of the stock inside the pipeline, but it's probably challenging to always keep track of where your stock is and move it inside the table, just change the numbers manually. This is why we came up with the purchase orders module. The purchase orders module helps you create a purchase order inside Sellerboard, enter all the information about your supplier, about the order, how many units do you want to order, number of boxes, or for example, units per box, the production cost, the transportation cost with all its elements, and then you can export this order, transfer it to the supplier, and the supplier also will receive all of your design files that you can attach to the purchase order and transfer all of this data through a archive file. Then when you create a purchase order, let's see how it looks. I'm just going to edit here a purchase order, to see and show you the interface. So basically, this is what it looks like inside. You have your product here, you have your numbers right here with the units ordered and price, costs. And this up here is the status of the purchase order. So first it's in draft, then when you move it to ordered, so you make any necessary changes at each step, and you can save them. And when you save the changes, you will be asked if you want to make adjustments to the planner page, which we viewed previously. What does that mean? That means that if you order product, then your units inside that column, the ordered column, will change. So then when you move the product down the pipeline, for example, it turns from ordered to shipped when the product arrives. These numbers will be transferred either to your prep center or to your FBA warehouse. So basically, when you have the possibility to create a purchase order and then move it down the pipeline using the status feature, so these numbers will be automatically updated and you don't have to do it manually and, just kind of keep it inside your head all the time. This is just the basic overview of the inventory feature. We also have other stuff here that's really interesting. For example, the FBA shipments. Maybe I will cover that in another video in detail. And then let's move further.
So far, thank you very much, Alex, for this feature overview of Sellerboard. There are a few more features we will go into, more details, but I wanted to remind our viewers that you will find the link below to sign up for Sellerboard, and you can get 2 months free trial. You can just test Sellerboard for free for 2 months. So check the link below and let's look what other features Sellerboard has.
Thank you, Augustus. So another cool feature from Sellerboard is the review request automation tool, which helps you get more reviews for our listings. I don't need to tell you how important it is to have reviews from real customers. And what we can help you with is automate the process of getting the reviews. We have the functionality that allows you to create campaigns and use a personalized design, for example, for your emails that you send out, or you can use standard template. This is the way we set up these campaigns. Of course, you've given a name, you have the status if you send out, or you can just test the emails to see how they look. Besides that, you can change your targeting settings right here, which marketplaces are you interested in, which business models, and you can select certain products that you want to include in this campaign. So this is it. You can use the custom email text, or you can use the Amazon standard review feedback solicitation template. Inside the template, if you decide to create one, you have the options to attach maybe a PDF instructional documents or whichever useful information you want to send out to the customer. And you can always change the design right here. Then when you have all of this stuff set up, you can change the status of the campaign to active, and Sellerboard will start sending out requests, and then you can see how well you're performing in terms of orders that already were blasted with the emails with the review request. Right here, you'll have the statuses of each campaign and, of course, the products and the order numbers, so you can stay on top of how well you're performing with that. Okay, this is the review request automation module. This is a nice feature. I recommend paying attention to how it works, what it does. But besides review request, another cool feature are the alerts, and I'm going to go into a bit more details right here because this feature is useful for people who are checking constantly on their business, just to make sure everything is fine. With the alerts feature, you can have this live interaction and see events that need your attention ASAP. So you don't have to worry about stuff going on and you not knowing anything about it. We have different types of events that you can add to your notifications. For example, if some information is changed on your listings, that could be regular activity, or that could be piggybacker activity or hijacker activity. For example, the names, the images, the descriptions are changed in the listings, or maybe you also have stuff going on with your fees in terms of the measurement of the product. That could be on the Amazon side. Maybe they've wrongly measured the product or changed it to another category. So then your fees changed. Right here on the settings page, you have all types of events that you could be alerted or notified about. As I mentioned before, category changes, new commissions, FBA fee changes, listings, stuff that changes with the listing. And for example, you have negative feedback or neutral feedback. Probably you want to work with that, respond or see, first of all, if Amazon can take that review down if you have a negative review. Or maybe, or not maybe, but it's very important, the stock. If you're running out of stock and you have the numbers entered in your inventory module, then you will be notified when it's time to restock, and you should act. You should make a new order. Another feature, probably the last one that I'm going to show you in the settings tab, is the fact that the notifications can be sent via email or in your Sellerboard account. And if you choose to receive the notifications via email, you can enter the email addresses that you want to send out notifications to. And probably those will be of members of your team that are responsible for different parts of your business. So, for example, inventory notifications to someone, and then a listing notification to another member. Let's move on to money back, which is basically, reports. These are reports that we generate, and we give you instructions on how to use them in case Amazon might owe you money, and you might get reimbursed for several reasons. The first reason, if for example, Amazon has lost or damaged your stock, then we can estimate how much possible reimbursement you can receive, and we will give you a report about the products that have these issues, and you can send them out to support and see whether you can get reimbursed or not. You have all your instructions right here. The same goes for returns, because as you know, not in all the cases the customers actually return the products that they ask the refund for. And you can see the report here, which are the products, download it, send it out, see the instructions. And the last possibility for this type of refund is the fee change. So if your product was remeasured, wrongly measured, placed in another category, and you have a fee change, potentially this might be an error on the Amazon side. So what you can do, also download the report, send it out to support, and see whether you can get a refund about that or not. This is pretty much it. We have also the possibility, to connect your advertising accounts, their marketing channels. This is a feature that helps you take into account your spend that you have with your advertising campaigns. And when you set up a new marketing channel, you can always select the advertising campaigns that are related to your Amazon business activity. You can select them, and then you can choose which products are advertised in these campaigns. And of course, the costs will be distributed between these products. So you can have more accurate information with that. One more feature, we have the eBay and Shopify connectors. That means that if you sell, for example, on Shopify, you can connect your Shopify account. You can see your numbers from there. And for example, if you have fulfillment by Amazon for Shopify, you can set up an online store in Shopify and just do the fulfillment of the orders from your Amazon account. This is also possible. You can use Amazon. You can use Sellerboard for that, and you will make just the connection between the accounts. One last but not least important feature are the reports, because a lot of the times you need to share the information about your data with your colleagues, with your team members. So you can always do that using reports and just choose whether you want them downloaded and generated by orders, by sales, or just the general dashboard information for a period. You can always do that, and exchange info. Yes. So I think that without going into too much detail about the features, this is pretty much it. And yeah, if you have any more questions about the functionality of Sellerboard, I'll provide Augustus with the email that we will use, to kind of answer all your questions if you have any. As Augustus mentioned before, we'll give you a link for 2 months of subscription for free, a trial, which you can use and kind of try out if Sellerboard is a tool that will benefit your business.
All right. Thank you very much, Alex. And yes, the link for Sellerboard to sign up, you'll find below in the description. 2 months for free. You don't lose anything. Do you need to provide credit card data?
No, of course not.
No.
No.
Perfect. So, but you probably, to get the maximum out of Sellerboard, you would need to connect to your Amazon account to see if the numbers are right and if you like the user interface.
Sure. How it works: when you first register, you connect your Amazon Seller Central account, and we pull all of the data from there. It takes about 2 hours. And after that, you can see the first data without doing anything. After that, you can go ahead and enter your cost of goods, and you'll kind of start the profit calculations. And after that, you'll be updated live. Each 15 minutes, you'll have an update, and you'll see what are your numbers inside the dashboard.
Perfect. And Sellerboard works probably with a lot of Amazon marketplaces, right? In US, in Europe, in Asia.
Yes, actually, we have an update. The last update that we did, I think, a week ago, we've added the Far East region and the last countries that we didn't have. So now we cover all of Amazon marketplaces. We are worldwide, including Japan, Australia, and now if you have business in different marketplaces, you can connect them all in one Sellerboard account and have a general impression of your business.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Alex, and good luck in your business. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Augustus. Same to you. Bye-bye.
I hope this overview of Sellerboard's features were useful to you, and if you feel like this tool could help you to solve and automate some of your processes in Amazon business, check the link below to sign up and try Sellerboard for 2 months, totally free without credit card required. And now I would like to invite you to watch other short 10 minutes video about Sellerboard, where you will learn how you can set up your cost of goods and other Amazon fee expenses to better track the Amazon business performance.